Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
Have you ever wanted to have your dead, rotting corpse next to Bear Bryant? No? Well, I mean, you could. The price of rotting next to Bear Bryant has gone down. Michael Fortson is selling 2 burial plots at Elmwood Cemetery. Here's how they're framing this, and this has gotten multiple news stories written about it. You'd be located just 50 yards away from the final resting place of Alabama head coach Bear Bryant. He's lowered the price, though. It was $12,000 initially, and now it's $10,000. Are you out of your mind? What in the world is this? Bury me next to the bear. Okay, good. Pay $12,000 for the privilege. God, can you imagine your parents telling you this story? Like, oh, I bought some burial plots. Where? Oh, they're next to Bear Bryant. By the way, he stopped coaching in 1982. That was 42 years ago. I mean, this guy's getting in there. The people who are big fans of the Bears, they might be dying soon.
Number 6.
U.S. Representative Gary Palmer, a Republican out of Hoover, advocating for the release of billions in FEMA funds that have been frozen, leaving disaster victims without critical support. He highlighted the bureaucratic delays that have hindered FEMA's ability to distribute approximately $8 billion in disaster aid, delaying recovery for affected communities. Palmer emphasized that we need to have a streamlined approach to ensure immediate relief and prevent prolonged suffering for the disaster victims. So I guess he's saying that it's frozen and they need to let it go. All right, there we go. All right, thank you very much. I worked it in. Thank you. U.S. Representative Gary Palmer is right here. They need to go ahead and get that done and stop holding this back. We also know FEMA was skipping over Republican houses to houses with Trump signs in their yard. Government just does not work sometimes.
Number 5.
U.S. Representative Robert Aderholt, a Republican out of Haleyville, fully supports the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency. And he ties this back to what I think is an absolutely amazing thing that he's been pushing for a while, and that is getting my wife out of my house and back to the office. That's basically what he's saying. He's saying with Doge, that's the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, that they're going to go after the inefficiencies in federal bureaucracy and bring employees back to the office spaces. Do they think that if they make people go back to work, that people will quit their government jobs? Is that what it really sounds like? That's what he's suggesting here. I think that's exactly what they're suggesting. I don't know if there's any cost of having these people at home versus in the office. I don't know the answer here, but people aren't showing up for work, and that's what they're talking about.
Number 4.
Pollster Nate Silver, who was blasted during this entire election for his numbers and things like that, has now called for President Joe Biden to resign. So he's really trying to make himself ingratiated with the left. Holy cow. They were mad that he was saying, hey, Donald Trump's probably going to win this thing. And then there was a little bit of a tick up, and then it went back down. And he said, yeah, Donald Trump's going to win this thing. And he was right. He was right on his numbers. He is now rightly raising some questions here about the competency of President Joe Biden. Responding to a report on Biden's limited public engagement during the G20 summit in Brazil, Silver argued that the job's high stakes, including decisions on Ukraine, require a leader fully in command, which is what people have been saying about Joe Biden for years. They were saying that when he was running for office, that he was slipping. But it didn't matter. They put him in. Now he's president. But I think he should quit. Let Kamala Harris be president. It'd be fun.
Number 3.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican out of Louisiana, has confirmed new rules requiring individuals in the U.S. Capitol to use restrooms corresponding for their biological sex, or to their biological sex. This comes alongside a broader resolution introduced by U.S. Representative Nancy Mace, a Republican of South Carolina, aiming to enforce similar restrictions for members, officers, and employees in the House. Congresswoman-elect Sarah McBride, a Democrat out of Delaware, I don't have an accent for that, the first openly transgender member of Congress, has vowed to comply with new House rules requiring restroom use based on biological sex. Look, everyone's making a big deal of this, but they're missing the bigger point. Republicans won on the culture war. They ran on it and they won on it. Democrats are pretending we didn't fight the culture war. You guys have been fighting the culture war for decades. You're just finally losing because you've gone too far. That's what's happening here.
Number 2.
Murderous illegal immigrant Jose Ibarra was found guilty of murdering Augusta University student Laken Riley and was sentenced to life in prison for multiple charges, including malice, murder, and kidnapping. Now, I don't know if you watched too much of this. It's very sad. There was a lot of very sad moments in this. But after the situation, and I thought this was great, after he went through the case and found him guilty, he's like, I'm ready to sentence you right now. He's like, I'm ready to sentence you. And I just want to kind of talk about that for a second. Think about when this happened. And now we already have conviction and sentencing. We already have this. This is how justice needs to work. Quickly, fastly, don't release the guy, let him run around more. Katie Britt, Gary Palmer, Barry Moore, other Alabama politicians pushing for the Laken Riley Act, which is exactly what needs to happen. Get these people out of this country.
Now, time for the number 1 thing you'll be talking about today.
Speaking of Katie Britt, she is working her way, I guess, through some of the nominees for this Trump administration. I know she met yesterday with some people who are, I think it was Elisa Slotkin and some of the others who are moving their way through the confirmation process and meeting with people. She also laid something out that I thought was pretty interesting. There were some questions about where establishment Washington, D.C. is going to be on Donald Trump's mass deportations and stuff like this. Well, this might give you a little bit of insight into where this actually is. She appeared yesterday on a podcast, or at least recently, called Living the Bream. Now, this is with Shannon Bream of Fox News. And on this podcast, she said, look, we got the House, we got the Senate, we got the presidency. They want real results, and it is time to start dealing with things. And she specifically mentioned the border crisis. So if you're asking yourself, where is, quote-unquote, establishment Washington, D.C., I think it's pretty clear. Establishment Washington, D.C. is on the side of the people on this. They want this dealt with, and she references it specifically. She wants Donald Trump and believes that Donald Trump, the president-elect now, will act decisively to address the border crisis, reversing many of President Biden's executive orders early in his term. I think all that's going to happen on day one, as it should. So you should feel better about that. She predicted Trump would prioritize reinstating border policies and undoing Biden's 94 executive orders from his first 100 days in office. That's going to happen almost immediately, and that is a great sign, and a great sign for the entire, I think, United States Senate and establishment, Washington, moving forward. I think the level of resistance you're going to get is going to be a little less than we saw in the first Trump term, and that's good. Things will get done quicker. We'll see if that actually happens, but that's what it looks like right now. Now, right now, you can weigh in on all these or ask your questions if you would like for 10 with him, 866-494-WVNN. You can get in right there. You can also email us.
You've got mail.
Dale at WVNN.com. That's the downtownrescuemission.org email inbox. The 7 things brought to you by our friends over there, 2 Men and a Truck. 2 Men and a Truck, Huntsville.com. That's the website you go to. Now, 2 Men and a Truck. I've used these guys, and I'm very happy that I did. It made my life easier, and it will do the same for you. You don't want to be moving out in the cold or the heat. You don't want to be moving in the rain or the sun. Look, you don't want to be moving. You want someone else to do it for you. You want someone who's going to do it right. And I got to tell you, 2 Men in a Truck, that's these people. They will do it right. They will do it for you. They will do it quickly, and they will do it for a great price. You'll get 2 Men, a truck, and so much more. And don't forget about the grandma rule. Treat everyone the way you'd want your grandma to be treated. That's what they do at 2 Men in a Truck, and they'll do that for you as well. 2 Men and a Truck, Huntsville.com. Check them out today. And when you do, make sure you tell them Dale Jackson sent ya.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 things you should be talking about today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.